Hello, true crime fans. Jessica Biel and Melanie Lynskey are actors and the stars of the new Hulu limited series Candy, about a 1980 suburban housewife and mother named Candy Montgomery. But Candy also has skeletons, secrets that may or may not have been relevant to the brutal death of fellow suburban mom and housewife Betty Gore. Jessica plays Candy, while Melanie plays Betty. You'll be hearing about Jessica's performance in this series for two reasons. The superficial reason is that she is unrecognizable as Candy. The second and more interesting reason is that she is phenomenal in this role. As a matter of fact, she and Melanie together have a chemistry that two actors who are sharing a scene hope for. Oh, and if there's a third reason why you will be hearing about this series, it's because of the special guest star that appears in episodes 4 and 5. And now, it's my pleasure to speak with both women. Jessica, Melanie, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Jessica, I have to admit that I'm a big fan of those who really step out of a comfort zone to try and create their own path. And that's something that you did 5 years ago when you decided to start really making your own roles by serving as a producer in the projects that you were working on. And here we are with Candy, one that you have produced. You're also starring in it. I have to imagine that it feels pretty good to be to this point where you get to share this performance and this piece of art with the world.
Yeah, it feels amazing. I mean, it's so exciting to be a part of something that you really like. You know, it doesn't happen all the time, and that you're genuinely proud of. And I'm genuinely proud of the show. And yes, it feels great to, sort of take your career by the balls, I guess, and say, okay,
Wondering.
Yeah, I know. I was like, am I going to say this? I'm going to say it.
I was like,
I just was getting tired of not having the opportunities I was interested in and having to fight so hard for things and never getting never getting anything that I was just really excited about. So just said, okay, enough of that. I'm going to try a different way.
Yeah, it's important that artists continue to find ways to challenge themselves. And Melanie, you've obviously done a great job over the years as well. What is it that drew you to this role as a part of the Candy cast?
well, I felt like the story was just so well told. I couldn't stop reading the scripts. And as the story unfolded, I got more and more into it and learning more about these women. The writing was just beautiful. And then also I just responded to Betty. I understood her. I'm a shy person. I'm a bit of an awkward person. And I got it. There was just a lot about her that sort of inherently in my bones I understood. And if I don't have that feeling, I can't do it. Even if I understand the script is good, I need to have that internal sort of thing go off that's like, okay, I need to say these words. I need to do that.
Perhaps an awkward question, but how do you consider yourself an awkward person?
I don't have an easy time going to social events. I just have a lot of social anxiety and I don't know what to say to people. I going to a party by myself would be my worst nightmare. There have been times when like my husband's been out of town or whatever, and someone's invited me somewhere, someone I love, and I just sit, I can't leave the house. It's very, very hard for me. Photo shoots are absolute agony. Anything where people are looking at me, which I know is funny because I'm an actor, but when you're acting, you're not you. That's part of what drew me to acting, is being able to like get out of my own awkward skin and be somebody else. And but yeah, there's a lot of things. She answers awkwardly. Yeah.
Well, you have to match the awkward question with the awkward answer, I guess. Now, Jessica, I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so even before I was familiar with all the details of this real-life story, I did recognize that this felt like the suburbs of Dallas-Fort Worth, but I also felt like I recognized it based off your accent. That was a great job on the accent. How did you get the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 1980 so correct?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. That's a wonderful thing to hear. We had the most incredible dialect coach we worked with. Her name was Tangela, and she's it was just an immersive experience. It wasn't just necessarily talking about technical or, technicalities about, how words should sound, how hard the R's should be or anything like that. It was, we talked about, motivations as to why you would put a T on something as opposed to not put a T on something. And it was just a constantly incredibly fun and supportive experience. And also, I'm married to somebody from Tennessee, so I hear, not that he has an accent, but his family has different types of accents. Our friends from, the South have all types of accents. So it's been in my ear for a while, and it was fun. I really enjoyed that accent. I had a hard time kind of letting it go.
I want to echo that on Tangela, also our dialect coach. She was so awesome because I was doing like a Midwestern thing, and there'd be times where her note would be like, okay, so remember the flat A for Alan, and then also just remember you're a woman and feel inside your womb and just like go with your vagina a little bit more. Great job. Like it was really, she had these amazing notes that were sort of like where your voice is coming from and things that were very deeply in your character's sort of like insides. And I've never worked with anyone like her. She's awesome.
I loved it too.
I'm married to a Midwestern gal, so I'm going to have to offer up the advice of go with your vagina a little bit more when we're eating dinner tonight with our 7 and 5-year-old.
That's going to go over great, I bet.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Jessica, was there any thought given to trying to track down the real life Candy Montgomery? If you did you have any luck? And if you didn't, what is one question that you would want to ask her?
God, that is a good question about the question. I definitely initially was curious about speaking to her if she wanted to speak to me. And we were lucky enough to speak to her amazing representation, Robert Yudishin, who still represents her to this day, I believe, as her lawyer. And he gave great insight into the case at the time and all types of different details. He was really, really interesting to learn from. I wasn't able to speak with her, and I don't believe she has any sort of public life at all. Question. Oh my gosh. I don't know. There's so many questions. More than anything, I think I didn't want to ask any like crazy question necessarily, because I kind of feel like that might have been really inappropriate if I did get to speak with her. I didn't want to be disrespectful in any way, but I wanted to hear how she sounded. And I wanted to see her mannerisms as a person. And I was curious more about like how she moved in the world than necessarily getting any big questions answered, because I think that the interesting element of this show is we're not really answering the question. We're sort of offering it up to the audience as the jury. You're the jury. You tell us what you think, and if you believe this story or not.
And not to spoil too much, but you are both involved in a pretty significant fight in this movie. I'm curious, in your real life, have you ever been in a fight? And if so, how did it turn out? Melanie, we'll start with you.
Oh, so many fights. Trying to think of what to talk about. No, when I was an awkward teenager, there was a group of girls at my high school who started a club. They didn't like me, and so they started like a club and bonded together against their common enemy, who was me, because I was a bit weird. And they said they were going to fight me. They said, we're going to get you after school. We're going to beat you up. And so I was like, well, where should I meet you? I went up to one of the houses the day, and I was like, I'm just wondering, for the fight after school, where are we going to meet? Like, because there's this gate or that gate, or just like in the courtyard or what, like, just so I know where to be. And I think it threw them off so much. I wasn't trying to throw them off. I just genuinely was like, well, if I have to show up to a fight, I want to A, be on time, and B, know where to go. And they didn't really know how to answer. And they were like, you're weird. And I was like,
Sometimes awkward pays off.
I guess so. I didn't get into a fight. I guess because of
I
that.
bet they were terrified. They probably were like, "Oh my God,
She's ready.
she's gonna get us." You probably scared the crap out of those kids.
Probably. I was like, sure. Okay. So where do you want this to go down?
Well, Jessica, Melanie, thank you so much for the time today. This is a phenomenal effort by you both. I think that awards are maybe a little bit overrated, but I think you both are deserving of some award nominations based on your performances from episode 1 and episode 5. The surprise special guest star in episodes 4 and 5 is pretty crazy as well. Best of luck with things in the future, and congratulations on this project.
Thank you
So much.
so sweet.
Thanks to Gentleman Jesus for the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. And thank you to Joshua Bates for a fantastic effort on the video editing. If you have any video editing needs, hit Josh up on Instagram at Forager Digital. And thanks as always to you for checking us out. You can watch, listen, learn, and connect for free at booksonpod.com. For Books on Pod, I'm Trey Elling. Good day.